No, 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 no. Oh, he tried it.
John Doyle in. Heck off, Commie.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. It's Casual Friday here in the Heck Off Commie studio in the broader HOC media conglomerate. No suit. We're relaxing in this cozy autumn sweater, this cozy soon-to-be winter attire. And speaking of sweaters, we've got some stuff going on behind the scenes right now for the release of the very epic, much-requested Heck Off Commie Christmas sweaters. And I'll show you what they're going to look like. The resolution of the mock-up isn't that great, but I'll have mine soon, and so you get to see it then. But yeah, we're going to knit the illustration of me boxing Bernie Sanders into the sweater, so it's going to be very epic. And I think what we're going to do with them, because we sold out of the epic merchandise, so I think we're going to make a few dozen of them, and we're just going to give them away randomly to people that are members over at heckoffcommie.com, people like Skylar, people like Paul, people like Rick, all very high IQ individuals, all patriots, and we appreciate everything that they do to support us. We appreciate them, and so that way it's kind of like a nice gift for the Christmas season. It's our way of saying thank you to you for supporting us. So if you're already a member, you're good to go, but if you don't have a membership yet, maybe you want to support the channel, maybe you want a chance to win an epic Christmas sweater. Remember, you can get one for less than the price of a Blu-ray copy of My Neighbor Totoro, which I can prove anecdotally because I just bought one a few days ago for my sister because it was her birthday and we used to love that movie when we were kids. Bit of Zoomer nostalgia, sort of a Zoomers only moment. But it turns out 15 years later, 15 years since the last time I saw that movie, I don't understand it at all. Like, I'm watching it, I'm remembering certain images and certain sounds, but I'm trying to comprehend the plot. And right when I think I've identified the conflict, which is to be overcome by the protagonists, they like overcome it. And so then the movie just keeps going and you're like, okay, well, I've been bamboozled. What's the actual problem here? And so then the movie just kind of ended and I just felt sad. Like, I sat down to watch it. I was so excited. And then by the end of it, I was just depressed because I was having this existential crisis centered around the fact that I was either mentally defective 15 years ago when I watched it and thought that I understood it, or more likely, I'm mentally defective now. And I used to be this genius, but now I've fallen from grace. I'm a shell of the boy I used to be, a shell of the boy who could understand Totoro.
I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand where everything's.
But anyways, Hollywood decided that it wanted to make another Charlie's Angels movie, and so this woman named Elizabeth Banks ended up writing, producing, directing, and starring in the movie, and she's also the one who's blaming its failures on men, which is almost unbelievably characteristic of the feminist mindset, because this woman gave her time and her energy to this project. She wrote it, directed it, produced it, and starred in it. The movie was a flop at the box office, and somehow it's men's fault. It's the fault of half the world that you're just bad at making movies. Here's some advice from a man. Just make better movies. Like, when you're about to make a bad movie, just don't. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's not STEM, which we need more women in, of course. But, you know, I do actually have like some intelligent analysis or whatever that I'd like to share with you. But I also just really want to make fun of the trailer for this movie. And I don't know what the optimal order of that would be. But there is something to be said, you know, for the scapegoat of, well, I made this movie and it flopped because men didn't go see it. Men are at fault. They're too stupid to understand how awesome my movie is. Here's the thing. As much hatred as feminists have for men, as much as that ideology breeds resentment towards men, the reality is that there is nothing that gets under the skin of a feminist more than other women. The biggest enemy of feminism isn't actually men. It's other women. They'll claim that it's the male system that brainwashes women into pursuing careers primarily in human-centered fields, whether it be early education or medicine, that the reason women prefer to stay home with their kids when given the choice is because of men. But the fact is that the biggest enemy of the feminist narrative is actually free women, because when women are free, they tend to pursue things that align with their biological predispositions, which feminists reject. But here's the thing. The fact that feminists claim that the only reason women act in the ways that they do is because of the patriarchal social constructs is proof that women act in a certain way.
The fact that women have long been shut out of dangerous industrial jobs by men, by the way, is part of patriarchy.
that they try to explain it is proof that it exists. And since we have mountains of literature examining dozens of cultures throughout the world that all seem to uphold these tendencies, it would seem that feminism has absolutely no credibility. Their biggest problem isn't that men are opposed to feminism. In fact, the reason feminism was able to propel itself was literally because of male support. The biggest problem for feminism is that women aren't on board with it. Over 90% of women believe that men and women should be equal. However, less than 1 in 5 women self-identify as feminists. That means that women don't believe that feminism is synonymous with equality. And that's because it isn't. And feminists resent this fact because it prevents them from being happy, whether it's because they're hypermasculine, they're more competitive, they want to get in there and compete with the men, and then they just can't get the rest of the women on board with it because the rest of the women don't want to be on board with it because it's stupid.
I'm reading. Face.
Other women can be happy embracing their femininity, and feminists can't, and they resent other women for being able to do that. They view them as subhuman, they view them as brainwashed, and the feminist frame of reference for success is rooted in whatever men are doing. Whatever men are doing, that's what I have to do in order to be successful, and trust me, I'll be happy doing it. Ignore the depression rates, I'm definitely happy. No, you're not. And this movie doing so terribly is a perfect example of this. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we go through the trailer. But they want to make a movie about these badass women. You know, they're super hot and they beat up the dumb man. And oh, what's that, mister? You don't think women can do what men can do? Man, now you're subdued and I'm such a badass. It's like, so here's this movie that's being marketed to the world. And it has women embodying the archetypal roles of men. They're fighting, they're cunning, they're strong, whatever. And they expected who to see it? Like, why would men want to go see that? Why would men want to go watch a bunch of hot 100-pound women with no visible muscle tone just beat the crap out of a bunch of dudes and like physically restrain them? Like, I just can't buy it. And it's not because I'm sexist, Elizabeth Banks. It's really not. It's just because women are weak and that makes me laugh. Like, I don't mean that in an insulting way, but I'm watching this happen and I'm just sort of like, really? Is that really what's happening? Is the girl from Twilight really just like physically overpowering these male antagonists? And the reason it bothers me isn't because it's unrealistic, because it worked with Kill Bill, it worked with the original Charlie's Angels, but the problem now is that they're doing it so obviously to send a message. They're replacing the traditional male character with women, but they're not actually changing the way the character acts. So it's not as if we're experiencing a cultural shift in which we've got more female characters and they're embracing their femininity and solving their problems. No, we're seeing the same story that we've always had, except the woman has replaced the man. And this is truly a symptom of the greater cultural trend that we've been witnessing, in which the role of the man is being undermined because we're being told that men aren't unique, men have nothing to offer, women can do anything that men can do, and in fact, we should encourage them to do so while encouraging men to just step back and allow them to take their place. And you might think that that's a stretch, but I'm serious. The best way to examine the long-term trends and trajectory of a culture is to look at pop culture, like literally what is popular in the culture, what is being promoted and accepted in the culture. But interestingly enough, even though this was supposed to be a girl power, girls are badass type movie, the women didn't turn out to see it either. And that's what's so funny to me, the lack of self-awareness, because the movie didn't do well, and it's because men are stupid. Like, really? Because women are disproportionately represented in the movie market. Women are more likely to go to movies than men are. Women go to movies more often than men. So sure, men may not have been interested in your movie, but you fail to recognize that if women were interested in your movie, it would not have been such a colossal failure. You idiot. You said men are too stupid to understand feminist cinema. Well, evidently women are too dumb to understand it too, because you were literally waving it in front of their face. Like, look, you can be badass too. Man, beating up the men. It's like, who took the bait? Basically no one. Good job. You played yourself. And I won't even lie, it makes me feel a little bit better, because it's like they're favored in virtually all facets of education, be it K-12 all the way to advanced degrees. They make up a majority of managerial positions in the workforce now. They're getting hired at a 2-to-1 ratio in STEM. They're out earning us. All of this going on, but at the end of the day, our movie made $1 billion, so eat dummy. So what if we're committing suicide in record numbers as a result of your agenda being propagated for the last 50 years? Your movie was dumb and bad and cringe, and Joker made $1 billion. And that's the reason why these Hollywood and entertainment types tend to be leftist, because the market never likes their product. And they're too narcissistic and pretentious to think to themselves, maybe I just made a bad movie. No. They always blame the audience. It's never their fault. It's always the market's fault. It's the market's fault that my movie flopped. Definitely not my fault. I'm amazing. Everything I do is amazing. And the entire world that didn't want to see my movie, they're wrong. And I'm correct. Like, seriously. Someone could write and direct and produce and star in a movie like this. They could maybe spend 2 decades writing the most thorough biography on Leon Trotsky in existence, but they might only sell like 2,500 copies. They could be outsold by the new Captain Underpants book in a matter of hours, or another like 50 Shades of Grey type book. And what that does is it breeds resentment towards the market. That's why artists, authors, Hollywood types, actors, that's part of the reason why they tend to be leftist, because if and when their product gets smacked down by the market, they don't have the humility to look inward. So they direct their criticisms outward. Like, whose fault is it really that the movie movie didn't make money? Is it the fault of the tens of millions of people who saw the advertisements for the movie and decided that it wasn't worth their time? Or is it her fault? Again, it's not hard, just don't make bad movies. You know, they tried it with Ghostbusters, which ended up getting Milo kicked off Twitter. Man, I'm old enough to remember when Milo was on Twitter, Gavin, Alex Jones, Pizza Party Ben. It's the golden ages. I hope 2020 is as fun, but who knows? But seriously, like, you know, they tried it with the Ghostbusters reboot. They tried it with Ocean's 8, which I love because it's like men needed 11, but the women can do it with 8. Okay, I believe you. Yeah, sure. But these movies always fail, and they just can't accept that. They have to keep trying because when they fail, they just regard that to be a symptom of the problem they were signaling against in the first place, which is men, and more broadly, their role in society. But we'll go through the trailer now because I think it's just really something special. So, you know, I only watched the first 20 seconds or so of the trailer, and you'll see that that's what I was referencing in the first part of the video. So we'll go through it live now.
We'll do it live. Do it live.
First thing to note, the song in this movie, Ariana Grande, you know, Don't Call Me Angel. What that means is that is a protest against men referring to women as angel, which isn't really done anymore. But the point of that pet name, if you will, is because women are regarded traditionally to be pure individuals, you know, pure, beautiful creatures. And so this whole Don't Call Me Angel is basically a symptom of this culture of second wave feminism and of the sexual revolution where women are like, I don't have to be pure. I can actually be a hedonist and I can be a degenerate. And it's actually empowering for me to do that. So that's what this is fundamentally.
I think women can do anything.
Just because they can doesn't mean they should.
That is such a real conversation that happened. Oh, and she laughs. As if she knows something that he doesn't. I guess we're gonna find out.
But I have so many talents.
Oh, I bet he's regretting having said that.
I'm just a decoy star.
She's just the decoy. What? No! Oh, those guys are so dumb. Headbutt?
Outstanding.
And then Professor X question mark? Oh, she's got the hip short haircut.
You have a new client?
Who is she?
Oh my goodness.
Sleep it.
And she's got a gun? What? Another thing, actually wait.
No, I'm Jane. Oh.
Okay, even though it's a bullpup, no way that she'd be able to handle that recoil. I notice how whenever there are critiques of gun violence in movies, it's never going to be a movie like this. It's never going to be a movie where women are using the guns and we're being badass too, and we've got the bullpup, stuff like that. You would never hear a complaint. I mean, this person, what is this, an LMG or a machine gun? Yeah. So that would never be the subject of complaints from the media because it suits their narrative. Gun violence is only bad when it suits their narrative for gun violence being bad. When it's women doing the gun violence, then it's epic and it's empowering and it's totally something that we should promote. It's like, yeah, gun violence is bad. These violent white men, but then when women do it, it's like, oh, that's so epic. Look at them breaking down gender stereotypes because it's men that commit most of the murder, but now we've got women doing it, so it's like epic. From director Elizabeth Banks. Like, who is that? Who is Elizabeth Banks? I had to look up who that was, and the peak of her career, ostensibly, was when she played Miss Branch in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. From director Elizabeth Banks. What else has she done? We're jumping out of plane. Explosion. And we're driving, whipping, and the top is off the car, and I just beat the shit out of a dude.
That felt nice.
And there was something that wasn't funny, but then it cut back to the music, so you think it was funny. We're throwing guns around, pointed at the camera. Look out. We're gonna get you.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Morning, Charlie. We're empowered, but we still work for a man. We're empowered. I have cancer. Stop. Just please stop. 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 All right. Hey guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave it a comment, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Maybe even go to heckoffcommie.com, get a membership so you could perhaps win an epic Christmas sweater. That'd be cool. It's me and I'm boxing Bernie Sanders. So that's pretty epic. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and may God bless America.